If you want to use date and time in your programs, you will want to get familiar with the JavaScript Date object. And we'll do that by making a program that shows the day, the date, and the time. Let's start with nothing, with a program with no code. I've built a screen where I have a day label, a date label, and a time label. Let's get that JavaScript Date object. You do that by the command new date parentheses. So this is an object constructor, and that's going to get us the date object. And let's create a variable to store it. var d equals new date. And notice the short variable name. We will be typing that variable name a lot, so it's kind of handy to have it super short, and the convention is just to call it d. So let's take a look at that. We'll log to the console d.valueOf. And value of is a built-in method on the date object. So if we reference the date object with the variable name d and then dot and then value of, we are getting a method associated with the date object. And that's a built-in method that tells you the value of the date object, which is this: the day of the week, the date, the time to the minute. It actually has to the second. And it also shows you the time zone and how far offset from Greenwich Mean Time we are. GMT is Greenwich Mean Time, and we are 4 hours earlier than Greenwich Mean Time. Greenwich Mean Time is the time in Greenwich, England, and for historical reasons related to the British Empire, that's kind of time zone 0, and every other time zone in the world is offset a certain amount from Greenwich Mean Time. We are 4 hours earlier than Greenwich Mean Time. That's also called Universal Coordinated Time, or UTC. And there are a bunch of other built-in methods on the JavaScript Date object. For example, we can call this one toTimeString. And so we get the object d dot and then toTimeString in parentheses that accesses the method, the built-in method on the date object. And that is going to give us this little string. Let's also look at console.log d2date string, and we'll look at what that built-in method gets us off of the object. Sun Mar 29 2020. So these built-in methods basically take that date, which is the number of milliseconds from January 1st, 1970, and convert it into various human-readable, screen-friendly outputs. And the way to learn about that, the way to learn about those methods is to look at w3schools.com, the JavaScript Date object, and it has all of these methods: get date, get day, get full year, get hours, all the way down to set full year, set milliseconds, and continuing down the ones we're playing with, toLocale string, toString, toTimeString. So a couple dozen methods on that date object. And basically, those are all just different functions that print the date in various ways. And so we're just using two of them, the toTimeString and toDateString. Neither of us get them quite what we want for our app if we displayed those to the screen. Like, let's say we said, instead of logging into the console, let's say var time equals the date object toTimeString. And then let's set text of our time label to that time. How would that look? That looks okay, but it's a little bit funky, right? Because it's 14:56:03. So it's showing us the time in 24-hour time. Right now it's 2:56, so that's 2 hours past noon, so 14:56. We don't usually talk about time like that, so that doesn't exactly get us what we want. But this gives you a little introduction to the date object. You can look at all of these methods on W3 Schools, and we'll come back and we will format that in a little more human-friendly way.